How many iPhones have you sold?
Sold 138 in the first hour. And I still wonder how people deliver in 10 minutes.
Yeah, so it's easier to deliver an iPhone than to reach a venue.
What we saw today this morning on the iPhone was just amazing and shocking for us, and we really didn't think, we would sell, the kind of sales that, and it's still going on. Actually, we're selling about 3 or 4 units every minute now. QC is all about solid execution. How much ever money you throw at it. The crazy thing happening in the market, if you're 15 minutes and your competitor's 10 minutes, you are not in business. Oh my God, it's been...
How many iPhones have you sold?
We sold 138 in the first hour.
Oh, wow.
And I'm so sorry that I got late. I started home at 9. My Google said 9:50 I'll be here. The talk was at 10:25. And as I kept progressing, it kept going up. The red mark kept going up. And I still wonder how people deliver in 10 minutes.
Yeah, so it's easier to deliver an iPhone than to reach a venue. But yeah, we'll talk about, obviously, the most talked about theme right now, which is quick commerce. And especially for someone like you who's built retail ventures over the decades, and BigBasket, the largest grocer in the country. Did you see this becoming this big and where it is right now? How do you think it has evolved into the current form where we are right now?
Yeah, frankly, Vijay, we didn't see it becoming so big. And 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when all this frenzy started, and we had the luxury because we were running a business anyway, so we were doing what we were doing. And in fact, I personally was in complete denial actually of the business. Wondering how is it ever going to make money and how is it consistently going to deliver in 10 minutes and stuff like that. Fast forward about 6 months, and I just saw everything that I'd said and everything that I got was worried about. Just kept changing, and customers were just lapping it up. I call it something which has been manufactured and not that's happened organically, right? And I've talked about it, on social media. If you ask customers, do you want it in 10 minutes? Answer is no. But if you give it in 10 minutes, they love it because they really lap it up. So 6 months fast forward, 8 months fast forward, and customers are just kind of, lapping that business up so much that, we really then had to put our heads down and say, listen, we need to get into this. And over the period of time, we figured that the business works, it can be delivered, there is significant scale, customers have switched completely to speed now. Everything that people want on the e-commerce platform, speed is a very, very important element, and it's becoming a given, it's becoming hygiene. In fact, if you deliver fast, that's not good enough. People are now starting to wonder what are the new modes and next things that I'm going to do to make sure customers stay with you. So it's not, right now, I think it's there to stay for long, and you'll find it getting better and better in terms of multiple other things.
So what are people preferring? Is it speed, discount, or how do you sort of balance that out?
It's speed only, actually. So what's happening is, but I would still say that there are certain set of customers who initially lapped it up, which are largely the younger, generation or younger crowd, which really, took to it early. But now you're finding more and more people getting into it. Specifically talking about grocery as a category, right? So grocery always used to be a fairly planned activity. I mean, you wouldn't want to run out of essentials at home. So you would plan it. You'd get to a certain level. You knew what to order when. It was monthly many years ago when I used to run a physical retail business. It then moved to weekly because it was becoming more convenient. Online came. So people are just adding to the basket as and when they thought of something and would check out every 3, 4, 5 days. And because it's a planned purchase, people are willing to wait same day, next day. So it wasn't really something that was really critical. What we are finding now is the same set of customers who are actually behaving in this manner are now switching completely to quick commerce because they find it that much more convenient, because pantry stocking, that's what we call kitchen stocking, has now literally vanished. So I can literally come home and decide what I'm going to cook for that evening, and just place the order.
Right. So, as you said, you have been doing this in the grocery business for a long time. But now quick commerce has also gone beyond grocery, and for BigBasket itself, right, delivering iPhone, who would have thought? But how do you see that now going forward from here? And how do you carry so many SKUs? There is so many things involved: logistics, timing, the delivery executives carrying all these goods.
We'll see two things happening actually going forward. The way we look at it. One is that it is certainly becoming multi-category. So that's very clear. I think it won't remain verticalized anymore. E-commerce used to be very verticalized, and there used to be horizontals, which were essentially Flipkart and Amazon, but you had a lot of verticals that were there: grocery, beauty, etc., which were all doing reasonably well. Quick commerce, I think, is going to clearly do the multi-category play, and that's really what you're going to see. So that's one. Second is, I think it's a business that, at least today and even going forward, is very, very high on events, right? It's very, very high on on festivals, right? And come festivals, people just flock quick commerce sites, and you see sales just going through the roof. And today, this one was our first experience in that sense. We experienced this last year in a slightly smaller way when we tied up with Tanishq to sell gold coins during Dhanteras last year. And we saw the same behavior, right? People were just lapping it up, picking it up, and sales were going through the roof. What we saw today, this morning on the iPhone was just amazing and shocking for us. And we really didn't think, we would sell, the kind of sales that, and it's still going on. Actually, we're selling about 3 or 4 units every minute now. And it's hopefully systems are holding up and all of that is working well.
Yeah. So, what, according to you, is working out for quick commerce in India? Because this has been tried out in other Asian countries, Turkey, as well as in the US, and everywhere kind of there is a lot of consolidation. People have withdrawn the kind of scale of operations. What is it that, and typically everyone thought it won't work in India?
So, Digvijay, for quick commerce to work and make money, there are essentially 3 things that are required for it to happen. And all these 3, unfortunately, are ands, they're not ors. So all 3 of them have to actually work together, right? And it's these 3 things that are actually working for us and working for everybody else in the country. The first one is you need extremely high density. And when you say extremely high density, it needs to translate into every store sales throughput, right? And when I say this, for example, depending on your back end and depending on your costs, you will have to do anywhere between 1,000 to 1,500 orders per day minimum to just stay at break-even levels, right? And those are numbers we've really not seen happening before. And that's possible because of the density that this country provides you. It's also important that you will find them working on specific geographies. You'll find them working within the geography in specific areas because density is so critical. The moment you go to areas which are not dense, the business doesn't work, right? You just won't make money. So that's one, and that I think India provides, and that's what everybody is leveraging and everybody is doing well on. Number 2 is basically average order value. The most important metric for unit economics in e-commerce is what we call AOV, right? Average order value. Average order value, typically in grocery, what we used to see in our earlier avatars used to be $1,400, $1,500. But today, you need a minimum of 500 plus, right? So it's not a business that can run with people ordering something for 100 rupees and 50 rupees every time. It can't work. It'll never work. So you need average order value, you need density, you also need average order value of at least 500 rupees plus, right? And that, I think, because it's becoming multi-category and moving into various other categories that are coming in, is something that that people are able to achieve, and all of us are able to get there. Just to give you a feel of what we are doing today, we are actually combining both our businesses and becoming quick now, right? And the whole business is becoming fast. The blended average order value for us, for example, will run at $700-800, and that makes the business very, very profitable. And the third is internal to us is gross margin. In grocery, I'll take an example. The best in class gross margin is 23%, 24%. That's what we do, the best in class, right? But you need a minimum of 28 to 29% for quick commerce to work. And the balance 3-4% comes out of delivery income. So which means what we are seeing in the last year or last year and a half, people are willing to pay delivery fees on quick commerce platforms, right? And this is very different from what quick commerce was earlier because people wanted everything free. Delivery was never something that people are willing to pay for. Today, people are willing to pay deliveries. Average delivery being paid on QC platforms or income for QC platforms is 14 to 15 rupees per order. It's amazing, right? The point is you need that for the business to become profitable. So all these three need to work together for the business to make money. If one of them doesn't work, the business doesn't make money. So it's a very, very complex, tight, high on execution business. While it makes it tough, it's also fun.
Yeah, of course. So two things. BigBasket has completely moved to quick commerce as of today. But as you said about density, this is something you have in control. But you have also been delivering grocery across the country in many tier 2 towns. Do you think this will work because all your other competitors are also moving in that direction, but we don't know if there is enough demand for this to work out?
See, we'll all learn this very quickly, but very, very clearly, the unit economics will only pan out if there's density. That's clear, because there's no... So what else will they do if they go to an area which is not dense? Well, I think you can increase prices, you can increase delivery fees, you can play around with some of these unit economics metrics, and probably do something. But it's very hard to do that. If you don't have density, you will not work. And so, right now, expansion is all trial and error. Right? Everybody's going, setting up stores, trying to figure out whether it works. If it doesn't work, it's like retail as a business, right? If you look at retail as a business over the years, you will set up thousands of stores. You will shut hundreds of stores because it's all about location, location, location. You go to a location, after going there, you figure that it doesn't work. So you'll shut that location and move on. And that's what you'll see in QC.
Now, let me ask you something about things that are not in your control, which is the amount of capital that is flowing into the sector. People are raising tons of capital. One of your rivals has raised 1 billion in 2 months. And obviously, everyone is spending aggressively. You have to also, you have your own plans, you have your own profitability plans. Your grocery delivery business was profitable. How does that all change? And can you really make money in quick commerce?
Yeah, this is something that frankly worries us, and worries us as players, because we were never in this whole game of raising a lot of money just to make sure that you spend a lot of money. So there is a lot of money in the sector, but one thing is becoming very clear, Digvijay. Spending money on QC is not good enough, right? I don't think can change the game too much. QC is all about solid execution. How much ever money you throw at it, the crazy thing happening in the market, if you're 15 minutes and your competitor's 10 minutes, you are not in business, right? How much ever money you spend, you can advertise to the extent possible saying I'm delivering in 15 minutes, but I'm giving you 50% off or 20% off. We find people graduating to someone who's faster. There are two things that people look at basically. Retention metrics are changing, because people are opening up 2-3 apps right now. They'll have one principal app. Yeah. They'll open up 2-3 apps and they'll decide which is faster and where is it available. Availability and hence supply chain efficiencies become so much more important, and you can't do that by throwing money. It's all about execution. So you'll find that if you don't execute well, you'll not be in business irrespective of the money you have. So while it's worrying us saying money can get thrown into discounting, QC is behaving a little differently, fortunately.
Okay. And what about profitability? How do you think, what would be the optimum way to sort of approach that?
I think it works, right? So I think you will not make too much money. At a contribution margin level, you can get to a 5-6% positive level in this business, which will get to 2-3% EBITDA. So to that extent, at that scale, this business can only generate that. And so it's typically like the large grocery retailers across the world, but it's clearly there is paths to profitability, which I didn't think there was 2 years ago.
Okay, so what changed?
I think what changed is the fact that it's got some serious density. It's got customers who just come and started lapping it up. So it's got customers who are paying for delivery. This was something that you will never ever think of. 15, 16 rupees per order is not small. Right?
But again, coming back to the same question, is this just an urban phenomenon, or do you think the wider...
No, I think it will go into tier 2, but it will go into tier 2 towns, which are, I call tier 1 minus or tier 2 plus. So towns like, Lucknow, for example, is doing very, very well, right? Towns like Lucknow, Kanpur, Chandigarh. I think there would be at least about, we have chosen about 18 such towns. Kochi, for example, is doing exceedingly well, where I think it will work. Anything beyond that, we don't know. So we have, for example, when Ayodhya was launched, we went and we put a store there. So we've moved away from being a QC there to becoming a slotted business there. Because QC didn't work, because it didn't give us enough density. So that's the choice we have, though, because we can quickly switch into giving a slotted service. So you'll get into areas where you'll find that you don't have density, you will have to pull back.
Right. So also, like, the theme of our conversation today is the quick commerce is a paradigm shift happening in e-commerce. You have seen that play out over the years, many funding cycles, models have been changed and pivoted. What happens to the horizontal e-commerce model, the Flipkart, the Amazons? How do you see that kind of evolving?
Yeah. I will add one more thing before you ask me that, Digvijay, which is what will happen to Kiranas?
Yeah, I was coming to that next.
And what will happen to, and so that I'll answer it. Because it's also got a political issue, but I will. But let me just take the first one. I think both those formats are there to stay very clearly. Today, you would have seen a survey done by Times of India, which talks about, even today, which are the sites that people will choose during the festive season. And everybody says Flipkart and Amazon, right? The reason is that the kind of assortment and the kind of range that's available there, you will never ever be able to do that on QC. It won't work, because economically it won't work, right? So that people will always need. So that's why it will be there. Second is, I think, from a Kirana standpoint, while I think it is making some impact, but my belief personally is that globally, world over, various formats have come, and every time it came, people said Kiranas will get threatened. I think Kiranas are there to stay, because it's a business model which people just love doing all the time, and it's not happened globally. When modern trade came, people said Kiranas will shut, right? When online grocery came, they said Kiranas will shut. Nothing happened, right? A lot of them actually also need to change, need to become a lot more better, a lot more efficient, which a lot of them have done. But I think the formats are there to stay, right? They have this convenience of delivering home, they give you credit, they know exactly what you want. Analytics there works in his head far better than what some of the tech does. And you can't do away with that.
But there is some sort of an impact, right? Like, because my purchases are not happening, I'm sitting somewhere else and just placing the order. I don't have to talk to anyone. What would be the best way for them to kind of also survive when this onslaught is kind of underway?
They will all start efficiently delivering home. Today, the problem with a lot of this, except Mumbai, where the Kirana was lifeline for people. And when I was talking to you about analytics in his head, in Mumbai, that guy will actually tell you what you need for the next few days also, because they are so closely tied into the household. Whereas if you look at some other places, when you order, they take their own time. They almost make you feel that they're doing you a favor. A lot of things in Bangalore. I think that will change, right? I'm already seeing a lot of logistics players, a lot of people who are trying to work with Kiranas to see how can I get their home delivery improved. And so it's finally a phone call away, right? That's how they work. They probably won't have an app. They might when ONDC scales. But I think for now they'll phone, and if they can deliver it efficiently and quickly like the way Mumbai does, I think it'll be there. It won't go away for sure. So that's what they'll do. Most of them will actually start now getting more efficient, right? They were getting efficient in their operations. Now they'll get more efficient in delivering home, and that's what will get them to be there.
Hari, what you also have IPO plans. What happens to those? Is there any change in those plans, given that there's a significant pivot you're kind of taking?
Yeah, it doesn't change. Actually, I think it's got pushed out by a year. So actually, I don't think too much about it because I just leave it to the Tatas. I think they'll figure this out for us.
And what happens to new with this whole new lease of quick commerce? How much do you think that will?
New is also the whole quick commerce movement. Is also now going to become a big piece and big play on Tata Neu, right? And so you will see changes there. You will see changes in branding, etc. I don't want to talk about it because we are all not really too private to it. But there is a lot of stuff happening to also, in a sense, become a big player on the QC play as far as Neu is concerned.
Right, got it. So I think we're just running out of time, and we can talk maybe an hour more if you want to, but Hari also has a flight to catch. So thanks a lot, Hari. Thank you for making this.
Pleasure.
Appreciate it.